Hello everyone, this is RZ053, and I'm bringing you a Warhammer Dragon video, this time using Canada. So yeah, we saw North Korea versus Canada, now we're going to see Canada versus North Korea. I'm going to speed this up, I'm going to take this left flank over here. Don't know what he means by full. Not entirely certain. So he's going to put his CV over there, you know, usual run-of-the-mill stuff, I guess you could say. Now, what I'm opening with, let's pause it real quick. I'm opening with some Leopard C2s and ADATs. Just to point out the ADATs here. The ADATs is a very dangerous unit to Red 4. And that is because it is extremely difficult to counter with anything that's a vehicle. That could be a helicopter, it could be an airplane, it could be a tank. The best ways to counter this is artillery and with infantry, because it will not engage infantry, even though it has an HE power. But yeah, so this is a very lethal unit, the ADATs. Got a Leopard C1, a couple Cougars, which I'm going to rush up, see if I can, cut off some of the enemy units, but other than that, I really don't care, what happens to these guys. They're mostly just there to stall the enemy. Maybe you do some damage, you never know. Then I've also got some Grizzlies in here with some Canadian Airborne. A couple Bisons with the Pathfinders. And then we have two CH-147s with Highlanders. So that's kind of my opening here. And I got a Command Infantry and the CH-118. I'm speeding this up, but he opened, he was expecting perhaps a heli rush. Heli rush, straight to Foxtrot. And so he brought in an air superiority fighter, managed to cut off one of my Highlanders, but he didn't send in a lot over on my flank. What they instead did was started teaming my ally here, and so that was definitely not good, especially considering he hadn't brought a lot of heavy tanks himself. He had this M1A1HC, I should maybe, I don't know, let's just see. So he has an M1A1 HC, but that's not much, compared to a T90. However, his MiG-29 here managed to shoot down the, whatever it's called, the Hornet, which is very interesting. Yeah, these guys got knocked down. He's focusing on this side. He's just blitzing through this section. Gotta hand it to him. That blitz is going quite well. And it's also managing to sever the supply lines. Here I'd say he made a bit of an error. He went for some weaker targets. He might have lost sight of that T-81, but that would have been my first target with this. He's got a T-90 here. He's taking heavy fire. M1A1 HC here, which probably got killed off by the amount of Chomahos he had. So yeah, there's a lot of enemy forces. Meanwhile, I'm looking around for this command unit. And he had cleverly hidden it back here, but usually you'll see it over here because that's closer to the road usually. It is closer to the road, so you'll usually see him over here, not over here. So I was kind of puzzled, so I'm waiting for my infantry to come in. Yeah, he has a very effective push in some ways over here. He's got a T-90, he has some Shilkas to provide anti-helicopter support. However, if he were to bring in, if I were in this situation, and I was getting pushed like this, and I knew he just had the Shilka, then I would have brought in just a Cobra. I would have kept it back here, and I would have gotten some recon, and that T-90S, all these forces would not have been doing too hot. I can guarantee you that. So he's got a very damaged T-90. I do not know why he's pushing up this far with it. This is a pretty gutsy move. I mean, he really assumes that there's nothing coming this way. I mean, I would have retreated that and just pushed with the Chomaho 4s. But he is lacking recon, which is a major issue for, well, any push. But he is lacking that reconnaissance, so, yeah, bad thing for him. Now, he's got a Super Cobra over here. So, yeah, that's what my ally is doing. Ooh, what do we got? Some Yukjundays disembarking into the town. Well, I guess you could say just getting into the town. They didn't disembark from anything. Stingers managed to shoot down that, I think probably that recon helicopter. think it was a recon helicopter. FA-18C getting a bit too close. Doesn't take a lot of damage, but he's stunned, he's shaken, he's not going to do too well. In the meantime, Wanda over here is being forced to pick up the slack for where Panzerkampfwagenkanon, you know, something where Panzer's trying to, you know, he's got to pick up the slack there. Meanwhile, I'm calling in some Mexus. Now they're available to the motorized deck, which makes me very happy. And at that point, yeah, it's just clusters all day. And we managed to kill off all those with just a cheap cluster run. Holy crap, that thing is so damaged. You better get some resupply to it. Like, probably that's what these guys are here for. A lot of BTR 80s, probably carrying more Yukjiundes. Wanda's like, hey, I need some AA over here because he was seeing, you know, all this, the Super Cobras and stuff. In the meantime, he's trying to push this position. However, I have already reached it. I just haven't spotted the command unit until now. So yeah, Canadian Airborne doing their best to hold the position. You know, all these Grizzlies are shooting at the command unit. Managed to kill the helicopter there. It must have been flying a bit too low, so these guys got caught in a bit of the blast. Yeah, so that doesn't really help the these VDV out. And the C-1 is suppressing them with its gun. ADAX was a bit on the move too much, but you know, it's killing stuff off. No, it's not. It's kind of going wee, shooting off every different direction. However, managed to kill off that unit there. Holy crap, does he have a ton of heavy units here. I wish I could have bombed this. I would have bombed here, and I would have bombed here, and I would have bombed here, and I would have bombed this whole place with cluster bombs. But I did not have any visuals, so there wasn't really anything I could do. So yeah, he was moving around his TACOM. I'm like, hey, defend this, you know, watch out. But we're still getting a +1 income because they haven't captured this zone yet, and we hold Foxtrot. Doing a cluster run on these BTR-80s. Overkill? Probably. Was there a good reason, though? Yes. Because these guys were threatening our position here. And yeah, I mean, it was just imperative that we kill these guys off immediately. However, I'm not really managing these guys. I was watching this position over here. But he manages to get a good kill on that command unit. I kind of wondered what happened to it, honestly. I mean, I knew he'd probably gotten killed off, but I just didn't know how. T-80UM, though, manages to kill off one of the small teams. He's pushing up extremely aggressively in this case with that T-80UM. I would definitely be... you know, he doesn't have a screen right now is, I guess, the bigger issue. I think the Mexus just killed that off. I'm pretty sure the Mexus just killed that T-80UM. Wow. And then again, when you're looking at something with 17 armor penetration at that close range, it's not too surprising, I guess. Gauges kills a BMP-3, you know, everyone's just kind of engaging over here. Oh, he loved his heavy tanks, and he has himself a nice T-72BU, otherwise known as a T-90. So we've been seeing at least 2 T-90s so far. And yeah, it was just, oh boy, it was a lot of enemy forces. Tell him to attack, but it's really a bad idea when you got a T-90 that wounded. I mean, he's got nothing in here, and he knows I have some Canadian Airborne. And those Canadian Airborne, not that they're the best anti-tank units, but they do have an 875-meter range, which makes them exceptionally deadly in that regard. With a tank that only has 1 HE, or 1 HP, you know, and a heat against a heat launcher, well, not good for any tank. In case you're wondering why that's such a big deal, heat launchers will always do 1 point of damage. Anything with the heat tag will. So if this gets, literally, if this thing gets hit once by just about, you know, any heat munition, it's dead. Like, it is just dead. No warning, just dead. So, yep. Got a PT-85 over here. Don't see these guys a lot. I don't really like them. I don't feel like they're that useful as a recon unit. I'd rather just get, like, some Spetsnaz GRU, you know, which would actually be considered cheaper, you know, for the price. Of course, you do have to consider that. He's like, hey, you know, we've got some tanks over here. Definitely an issue for them. Definitely an issue. And with that, it's sort of like, okay, there are enemy tanks. Bring out everything we've got. This, my friends, is the Ka-50 attack helicopter. The Ka-50 attack helicopter, you don't see this much. It kind of got a bit of a nerf. Now I think it fires its missiles like the Apache Longbow does. Oh my. This thing is extremely lethal. It is extremely potent. It's got, how much armor penetration? 26 armor penetration on that ATGM. And not to mention, not only that, but it has some anti-aircraft missiles. Or, well, sort of that anti-air, anti-helicopter missile. For me, still the best way to engage stuff like this, in my opinion, is with cheap aircraft. That's my favorite way to engage Ka-50s. Of course, if Javelin or, some AA infantry, that's probably another excellent way to engage it. The difficulty is that they do have some range. They, like the Stingers here, don't have a lot of range. Doesn't mean they can't kill that Akula, but if that Akula doesn't get in range yet, there's not much that these Stingers can do. Now, I think this is odd. Why is he bringing in 2 commands over here? This is just odd. This right here is, anyways. So yeah, at this point, the enemy had decided to neutralize this, so they were getting +1 at this point. Not good for us, obviously. Now they're getting a +2, which is shortly dealt with. So yeah, he's doing a Phantom 2 run. He's going to try to napalm anything in this area. They only have 15% accuracy, but they do manage to do an exceptional amount of damage there. LAV-25 does a lot of damage. At this point, they were, kind of worried, and I figured I could get away with a bombing run. This is the CF-18 Hornet. This is not my fighter Hornet. This one carries 8 cluster bombs, which are currently dropping. I've got 2 of them because I know there's a T-90 there, and it's not going to go down easy. So yeah, clusters going in, killing everything, all the vehicles in this area, even doing some damage to the Shilkas. So yeah, that dealt with that problem and told him that that sort of stuff wasn't going to be tolerated by me. So yeah, Canada. He's doing pretty well at this point. He's got a pretty weak position here, all things considered. Probably some Bachung shoes are coming in here. Good choice. You don't really need the highest AT power stuff. Well, maybe you do, because he's got an M1A1. But you also have this Akula coming by. But, he's playing it awful risky, considering what's all in the area. I'm putting down defense, but by then, it's kind of already too late. And by kind of, I mean it is already too late. Now, this could have been avoided if he had pushed up probably Stinger C's, but, hindsight's 20/20. So, yeah, he's pushing in. Wow, he's got another T-90 coming in with some great AA. These M1992 Spogs are pretty good. I really think they're nice. They don't have the best accuracy against aircraft, but they do work. Speeding up, though, just a tiny bit. Bombing run going in probably to kill the one unit that you can see. And this was just a miracle. This guy just experienced an action movie. I mean, he certainly isn't, like, all that gung-ho, but he is, like, okay, I just survived that. Toe 2 going in, and we going up, because, yeah. He's panicked, and for some reason, panicked soldiers do that. At least in Wargame, they do. It does have a BTR 60P. Interesting. Just sort of doing a bit of a gun duel. You know, with the medium machine guns they both have. The difference is that this guy is taking a lot more damage, and this one will kill him. So yeah, I'm bringing in some man pads. I learned from that mistake. And I'm also, as you can see, I'm pushing this side. And at this point, I'm like, please, you know, Leopard, get out of there. But he didn't. Yeah, the Pathfinder's doing a great job here at killing off the Murtroki. And at this point, we've got an Mi-24 Victor, or Mi-24V. In case you're wondering why I said Victor, it's, I believe, part of the NATO alphabet. But, you know, V can sound like B, it can sound like a lot of different things. Which is why they use that. And that's why they have the NATO alphabet. Yeah, he's doing a bombing run. He incorrectly assumed I was farther along here. It was pretty close. But, yeah, he just had, you know, guessed I was over there. Probably a bit of a... maybe a misclick, I'm not sure. Yeah, he's got some Spetsnaz, though. They're coming in. He's also got a BTR-90. So he's got all that coming in. North Korean at Mi-25 is coming in as well. And by now, my Javelins are getting into position. Javelin isn't the best man pad, but it definitely does a good job. You know, for 15 points, you get a 24-50 meter range with 45% accuracy. So not bad, and it also does 5 high explosive damage. So, and it's also, but it is handicapped in a way because it's guided and it's not fire and forget, which does significantly limit its effectiveness in some regards. Because, for example, if these guys have to, you know, fall out, you know, get out of there, they just have to run away. Their missiles, if they fire, won't hit, so you have to wait for the missiles to either hit/miss in order for you to do anything with them. Which, yeah, that can be problematic. These guys get to elite, though, kill off that Mi-25. And this Javelin is engaging the Mi-24V over here. It's running away, but that, like I said, that range is just what's getting it. Boom! Gets a great shot on its rear. Of course, he decides that he wasn't going to tolerate any more shenanigans like that, and he totally nukes it. Yep, he's got the Spetsnaz coming in, but if he had, the issue right now, pausing, okay, that's an awkward and contorted pose for the Spetsnaz, but the issue was that these guys were only engaging using their AS-Val and RPK-74, which by no means are to be underestimated. But the biggest issue is that they aren't using that RPO Rice. That RPO Rice, had he ordered these guys to stop, could have really changed the engagement. Might it have killed these units? Quite possibly. You know, you're looking at a bunch of panicked units. It's certainly possible. And if he had held that BTR-90 in reserve, it's also possible that it would have left. He's got that MiG-29 coming in, though. He's managing to dodge a lot of missile fire until the ADATS is like, nope, you're not flying in my airspace today, and it crashes. And a spectacular, that's going to be new lingo. And, yep, so also the, also spectacular, I don't even remember what I said, but he pushed up a T-90, he pushed it up across an open field, and, yeah, that kind of was bound to happen. So, yep, I got my Grizzlies, I got everything kind of moving across here. I'm gonna go, and what I'm doing is I'm right now going straight for the jugular. Is kind of what I'm thinking. I'm going straight for the heart. I'm gonna try to take out Echo. Let's get some Bachong shoes over here, but right now one of the bigger issues is that he has nothing to stop me over here. Best thing to stop me, in my mind, wouldn't have been an airstrike or a helicopter, but it could have been just some a BMPT. BMPT could have really ruined my day. Really could have. And now, since I have these guys on attack move, they'll stop and engage things, which is important to note. Attack move is a great feature that I don't see a lot of beginners using, and I instead see them just using the standard move order. The difference between a standard move order is highlighted well here. A standard move order is ignore everything and just go to that point. Now, they might shoot at the enemy during that time, but it's usually just this, kind of ignore everything. I'll shoot at something and they, if we're in range, but, nothing that's static will engage, I guess you could say. If you want to apply this to something other than infantry, like, infantry, this applies, like, if you have to use the Carl Gustav. You have to stand still, to use the rocket launcher. Same with, the AA missiles that the Javelins have. However, if you want to apply this to, like, tanks, the best tanks to do attack move with are definitely the French tanks. They're a must, you kind of have to do it with the French. Because most of their tanks, I'm thinking like the Brennes, the AMX-40, not the AMX-40, the AMX-32 line, all don't have stabilizers. So yeah, definitely something to watch out for. At this point, I'm like, ooh, don't want to run straight into the Bachong shoes. Yep, so we got those missiles going in. Once again, these guys really doing a great job earning their value here, killing off a lot of the enemy. Now, I wasn't able to take full advantage of the range advantage that my Leopards have, so we're engaging at about the same range as the Zalos. Zalos are a unique unit. You don't see them used a lot. I'm saying that a lot in this game, but you don't see them used a lot. They're pretty good. They've got good accuracy. They're not the best on the move, which is what they are right now, but they have a 20 rounds a minute rate of fire with 9 armor penetration, which means that you're going to do a lot of quick damage to, like, infantry groups, as demonstrated here. Boom, boom, boom. Yep, so that missed. He's doing another blind bombing run. And, yeah, once again, nothing in return, just blind bombing. He's got a push coming in here, though, with a couple of these Spetsnaz and BTR-90s. However, the Canadian Airborne are having none of that. They're destroying these BTR-90s. Great transports, the BTR-90s. You see these used quite a bit. They have 40% accuracy. They also have great armor penetration on the gun. These MBT-70s just wrecking these Spetsnaz here. We can see just the effectiveness of a couple MBT-70s. They're not my favorite unit, but they have gotten a bit of a buff where they have 5 high explosive power now. They used to have 4, just like the T-72 line. But yeah, now they're just that much better. Just that much better. Doing some cluster runs. They're not getting a lot of enemies killed. I kind of jumped the gun. I'm like, oh, they're moving there. They're going to do that. But they weren't, so it's kind of a bit of a waste. And at this point, yeah, I realized the Pathfinders found the CV over the M72 Law. Accurate as always. But these Canadian Airbornes with their Carl Gustav M3s managed to get the kill. At that point, I also decided, you know what, let's fly around some command infantry and try to capture this point. At that point, it really wasn't a bad idea for me, because I figured if I could capture this, we could go in and we could start, going for Delta. We could also start going in for Bravo. However, apparently there were only 2 minutes left on the clock anyways. So yeah, it just wasn't really the best situation for him. And yeah, he decided to go ahead and call it quits. Anyways, so just looking at the way things worked out, my ally got 2,130 points. I got 2,620 points. took less losses, and we got about the same conquest points. But all in all, it was a good game. I really enjoyed playing it. Playing as Canada is an interesting challenge, I should say. Because, you know, you don't necessarily have the heaviest tanks. But anyways, that's me playing as Canada. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want more of this, please like and subscribe for more content. Anyways, this is RC053, and I'm signing off. Have a good day.